Three great religious leaders appear before the members of their faith. It's been predicted that in 3 days' time, the world would be destroyed by a terrible flood. One leader appears before the members of his flock and he pleads with them to return to God and to repent. The other leader appears on the internet and he too pleads with the members of his faith to embrace God before they all perish. And then it's the time of the chief rabbi of Jerusalem to get up and make his speech. And there he is, standing in Jerusalem by the temple, speaking to the Jewish people. And he takes a slightly different approach and he says, "My dear brothers and sisters, in 3 days' time, the world will be covered by water. We have only 3 days to learn how to live underwater." Elie Wiesel of blessed memory, in his book Messages of God, he writes, what did Adam encounter? He encountered the death of one son and the other son being a murderer. What would a parent do when they were faced with that fact? Did Adam throw in the towel? Did Adam give up? No. On the contrary, what Adam did was to have another child, to have another son. Adam's greatness was not that he started the world, for that he had no control over. Adam's greatness that he was able to start again. Generations later, we read how our forefather Jacob is anticipating his brother Esau. Esau is coming towards him, and Esau, his own brother, wants to wipe Yaakov and his family off planet Earth. And what does Yaakov do? Yaakov divides his family into 2 parts, hoping that if God forbid Esau will destroy half of his family, the other half of his family would be able to escape. Because Yaakov knew that if the family would be able to escape, they wouldn't throw in the towel, but they would rebuild and they would start the Jewish family once again. He knew if tragedy would strike, his children would have the strength and the courage to build anew. Are we not the children and the grandchildren of the Sheres HaPleita, the remnants of world Jewry who miraculously survived the Holocaust? People who were broken physically and spiritually, but somehow they had the strength and the courage to start life again. Just look at the incredible Jewish world that we live in today. In our own times, Rabbi Joseph Eckstein and his wife watched as 4 of their children died from the horrific disease of Tay-Sachs. And what did Rabbi Eckstein do? Rabbi Eckstein wanted to ensure that no other parent should have to live with the grief, the pain and the sorrow that he and his wife did. He founded Dor Yeshorim, a grassroots organization whose sole purpose was to eradicate Tay-Sachs disease from amongst the Jewish people. You know, if we're honest with ourselves, we should come to the conclusion, we should realize that we have very little control over what happens to us. But what we do have a great say in is how we react to that which we encounter. You know the old saying, if you're given lemons, then learn how to make lemonade. As Jews, we have had no choice. It has been part of our DNA from day one. We have always had the challenge of trying to find light within the darkness. And this idea is actually brought home in this week's portion. In this week's portion, we read about a man by the name of Bilam, who was the arch enemy of the Jewish people. And he actually attempted to curse the Jewish people. One of those curses recorded in this week's portion is Ma tovu oholecho Yaakov. How beautiful are the tents of Jacob. That is a verse that we recite every morning as we begin Shacharit, the morning prayers. It doesn't make any sense. Here we have the arch enemy of the Jewish people wanting to curse us, and we take that verse and we begin the morning prayers with it. You see, we begin the morning service with Ma tovu, not despite the fact that it was meant to harm us, but rather because it was meant to harm us. And it is strategically placed where it is at the beginning of the service to set the tone for our prayers and to set the manner we should view the day which we are about to embark in. May God bless each and every one of us, that we may only encounter light and blessing. But if, during the course of the day, we will face challenges and difficulties, let us never forget that to be Jewish is to make the best of a worse situation. Let us never forget the conduct of Adam and Jacob. Let us be inspired by Rabbi Joseph Eckstein, and let us always remember that Ma tovu began as a curse, but ultimately it became one of the greatest blessings that we, the Jewish people, know of. Thank you.